got the fire flow. Shorty getting down, going up the fire pole. Radical, intermittent where we mad cold. I got the bullfrog flow, you a tadpole. Feel the love, feel the rush, feel the buzz, let it brush ya. Bald eagle clutch on the mic, what's up? Whistle turn me.
Welcome to someone's favorite movie. Coming to you from the Podjack outside beautiful Flint, Michigan, USA. My name is Randy, and with me, the man, the myth, the legend, the vital mythology of Tom Coe joins us today.
Yes, how are you doing, sir? Happy almost ended 2020.
Man, you don't sound like vital mythology when you said that. You just sound like a weary man.
I am time-released vital mythology.
Oh, okay, I see. So as the episode progresses, you will get more and more potent.
I will.
My God. You're a modern-day podcasting miracle.
Aren't I, though?
It'll be good because at the tail end of this episode, I'm going to start yawning probably.
And that's when I kick in.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Time released.
I love it. Oh, boy. We are here today with this someone's favorite movie. We haven't talked in a while, Tom Coe. Not at all.
No, we have not. Not since before Thanksgiving, if I'm thinking correctly.
Was it that long ago? Holy cow.
I think so.
Holy cow, I say. That's my new thing to say. Do you like it? Holy cow.
I like that, but I guess apparently it was pointed out to me that I say excuse me, a lot.
Oh, do you?
Apparently, I've never noticed it, but everybody at the office today confirmed that if I accidentally bump into something or someone, I will often, if not frequently, say, excuse me.
Interesting. Well, if you bump into your words and you happen to say, excuse me, I will call you out on this episode.
Fair enough. I would expect no less, sir.
Okay, I appreciate that. What were we talking? Oh, yes, we haven't talked in quite a long time. In the meantime, I had an episode on the Mighty Ducks franchise with my pal Matty F from the Flummox podcast. I released that episode with Nick, former epic film guy Nick. We covered The Stand. We recorded that one a long time ago.
I was going to say, you should have quite the bank of episodes built up by this point.
Yeah, there's a few episodes that we recorded. Well, more than a few, I think, that I still haven't released yet. But soon, probably soon. But this is so fresh and so clean, a brand new epi. We're here in the present day. Hello, hi.
By the way, I want to try to, it's been a while since we've talked. I don't think I've actually told you about my grievous injury.
You have a grievous injury? Oh, my God.
I do. Hold on. I will actually send you pictures of it.
Oh, gross. Put your clothes on, Tom Coe.
Let's just say this is why you don't roughhouse with a bulldog.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was kind of getting in her face a little bit, and she always used to like it, but apparently as she's getting older, she's getting a little grumpier, and she let me know not to do that anymore.
Oh, man. Where did she bite you?
It should be delivered to your phone at this point.
Let's see. The phone was way over there. No. Still don't have it.
Well, just to give you an idea, right on my face.
Well, if you're going to get... Oh, wait. Oh, there it is. Holy cow. That's a nasty one there.
Yeah? I mean, to give you an idea, imagine Heath Ledger's Joker, only instead of a full smile, it's more of a smart-ass smirk.
Do you want to know how I got these scars?
I've actually had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah.
Because I've had people ask me how I got the scars. My go-to answer is, well, I'm not really supposed to talk about Fight Club.
That's a good one.
I've also mentioned that I lost the quarterfinal round of a backyard wrestling tournament, and I was doing great until that little bastard grabbed the fluorescent light bulb tubes.
For those that can't see this phone, which I hope is all of you, because you lawyers, get out of my house. It's like right above his upper lip there.
Yes, like I said, it looks like a permanent smirk on my face.
It really does. It looks like Mrs. Tom Coe is really getting carried away there.
But yeah, that was fun. And it turns out you can't stitch a dog bite. I didn't know this until recently.
Why is that a thing?
Because much like us, dogs' mouths are filled with bacteria and they don't want to seal that shit in.
Okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense now. You know, they didn't at the time when I was bleeding, but it makes sense now.
Jeez. You know, and you made fun of Noel Marshall when we covered the movie Roar for living in a house full of lions, and here you are getting bit all up by your puppy dog.
And I don't even have a bizarrely fascinating movie to show for it.
If only you did. If only. Did you cry? I bet you cried. I probably would have cried.
Actually, oddly enough, it didn't really hurt.
Oh my gosh, it looks like it hurt.
It bled like a goddamn pig, but it didn't hurt that much.
Here's the other question. Did you reassert alpha male dominance and bite the dog back?
Oh yeah. You have to stand your ground.
Yeah, you have to. I'm proud of you for that. I feel like that's going to leave a lasting scar there.
Probably. I'm using silicone scar cream, and we're gonna see how that works.
I have a fresh new scar on the palm of my hand from my adorable, lovable kitten named Zoe.
Oh no!
With her razor sharp needle claws. You know, she's a fairly loving cat.
But she's still a cat.
She's still a cat, and when you're holding her, she always lets you know when she wants to be put down. She'll meow, and that's your cue right off the bat. Just drop her, let her go. Because if you don't, she's gonna squirm, and she's gonna get you. Inadvertently, it's not like she means to, but she does. So I've got some remnants all over my arms and hands from times that I just wanted to cuddle a little bit longer.
So I gotta ask, did you get any of that cat scratch fever, sir?
Oh, I got it. I got that crash. I can't talk tonight. You ever know that about me? That I can't talk? I can't say words?
It's a wonderful trait to have as a podcaster, I've discovered through the years.
Yeah, real great radio professional. That's what I am. Been doing this goddamn almost 9 years, and I can't even talk still. So one day.
Soon.
One day soon.
Other than watching the traditional Yule log on your widescreen, what else have you been watching this entire time that we've spent apart, sir?
I've watched a whole bunch. By the way, my movie watching year, for whatever reason, begins and ends on Christmas Day, 12/25. This year, this calendar year, from 12/25, 2019 to 2020, I watched 201 movies, which is crazy. I think that's probably the most movies I've ever watched in a year.
Well, I mean, we did have that lockdown, so it makes sense.
Yeah, there were some days I was watching like 4 or 5 movies a day, so it's not shocking.
Now, I forget, are these all movies that you've never seen before, or just total cumulative movies in general?
Total cumulative count. I used to only count the ones that I've never seen before, and I thought that was silly. So,
okay,
I don't know. They're my own rules. I can do what I want, right?
Makes sense.
I watched quite a few interesting things. I watched the movie Fatman. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I liked that a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Oh, it's amazing. It stars Mel Gibson and Walton Goggins. He plays a unrepentant scum who's got it.
He's playing two type in this movie.
Yes, he's a hitman for hire who also happens in his spare time to have a hobby of buying toys that are Santa authenticated. Because when he was a kid, he was kind of shunned by Santa, and he's always had a little vendetta against him. So now he's kind of collecting all these toys, and you know they're from Santa because it has the Santa seal on the bottom. There's a spoiled brat billionaire. Well, he's not a billionaire, but he's stealing money from his grandma, and he's kind of bribing his way to win science fairs and whatnot. He has it out for Santa as well, so he hires Walton Goggins to put a hit out on Santa Claus, who's played by Mel Gibson. And this Santa Claus is not the holly jolly Santa of myth that you'd have on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He is a blue-collar, working-class Santa who's also
very world-weary.
Very world-weary. He's also got the battle-ready skills and regenerative abilities of Deadpool.
Damn near, yeah.
Which is great. And he's been through some shit. And you kind of get the impression that he's seen a lot of things in his stint as Santa. Deliveries are down this year because the number of good kids in the world has decreased. So he's worried about laying off the workers in his factory and shutting it down. The factory is government subsidized. So in order to make ends meet, he takes up a defense contract making military weapons. It's great.
Mel Gibson is the type of person that I want to not like. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You hear all this stuff about him, and it's like, oh man, what a scumbag, you know, on a personal level. But he does still make a handful of good movies every now and again, and I find myself begrudgingly sort of a fan of his work, but not him as a person.
Yeah, I think that's allowed. I mean, I'm not a fan of him as a person, but my God, I loved him as this character.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought one of the best parts about it was the chemistry that he had. And I know I'm gonna butcher this name. She played Ruth, Mrs. Claus. The actress is Marianne Jean Baptiste, I believe it's pronounced.
Yeah, that's right.
The two of them together, I would watch a movie just the two of them.
Oh, I'm all aboard.
I enjoyed her performance.
I am all aboard. I want to see. I could live in this world forever. This mythology that they built up, I want more of it. I really do.
Yeah, because I just thought it was really kind of weird where it's exactly like our world in every way, except we just happen to acknowledge that, yeah, Santa Claus is real and it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, and elves are real as well. They've genetically modified themselves to run on 1 hour of sleep or something like that, because they're fueled exclusively by sugar.
Yes, sugar and fat.
Yeah, and they are very anal about their work and very schedule oriented and by the clock, and they're going to get the job done. So it all culminates in a bloody battle between Walton, Goggins, and Santa Claus.
Yeah, the only word that I could really think of to describe it is visceral.
Yeah, and
I mean, it is not a pleasant fight to watch by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's really brutal. And just to give away the ending a little bit without actually giving it away, Santa Claus comes to town to punish the bad child, and oh boy, I want to see Santa come back again in that kid's life, because you know that kid's gonna slip somehow.
Yeah, and you know what? If the New York or the Manhattan district attorney isn't going to take care of that kid, Saint Nick will.
Yeah, it's great. It was really good. A lot better than I thought it would be. Of course, when I read the premise and saw it, I'm like, oh, this is right up my alley. And it turned out to be a really great movie. So
I have to admit, I kind of had my comic book snob radar up.
Sure.
Because this was very similar to the plot of the Lobo paramilitary Christmas special.
Oh, really?
Did you ever read that book?
No, I know what it is. No, never read it. I've read very little Lobo in my life, so.
He was great his first couple of years before he became a self-parody of a parody.
He became Deadpool before Deadpool was Deadpool.
Basically, yes. I think that's very, very, very fair.
Yeah.
But this I thought, yeah, I had a similarity in plot, but it still felt very original.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it for the acting, the writing. I enjoyed it because you could tell that they did not have a lot of money to make this movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's barely a Roger Corman level production, but they hid that very well. I was impressed all around.
Oh, absolutely. Every dollar they had, they really made it work. So good for them. And I'd like to see more in the world of Fat Man and just more from these filmmakers too.
Well, yeah, because if Santa Claus is real, what else is real?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, that's a good point. Another movie I saw that came out around the same time was a movie called Freaky.
Okay.
This is a Blumhouse production from the writer of Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You. It stars Vince Vaughn.
I can't remember who it was I was talking with, but I was wondering where the hell Vince Vaughn has been.
He is in this movie, you see. Vince Vaughn and the woman, Catherine Newton. Catherine Newton plays a teenager. She's picked on at school, blah, blah, blah. You know the type, introvert. Has a boy she's got a crush on, but he might be too popular for her. Which is ridiculous because she's an actress in a movie, so she's drop dead gorgeous. But we're pretending that she's gross, you know. There is a killer in town, a slasher, and there's some very 80s-esque kills right at the beginning of the movie. It's pretty great. The slasher has a mask and everything. He's played by Vince Vaughn. He attacks this rich person's house, kills all the teens inside because they're having a party, doing drugs, gonna have sex, that whole thing. He grabs a dagger that has mystical properties. One night, Catherine Newton's character is left outside a football game because she plays the school mascot. Her mom is drunk on the couch, forgets to pick her up. Of course, Vince Vaughn shows up, stabs her with the knife, and they switch bodies. So it's one of those deals.
It happens.
Yeah, it does happen. And it's really fun. It's a really fun movie. So you have Catherine Newton, who is now basically a slasher, going to high school, and she comes into school wearing a leather jacket, and all of a sudden she's hot, and all the boys like her, of course. And Vince Vaughn is playing a 15-year-old girl. So
okay, you sold me.
Yep. There's even a scene where Vince Vaughn and the boy that Catherine Newton characters really likes, he confesses, he finds out that her mind is in Vince Vaughn's body, and there's a tender scene in the back of a car where they confess their feelings for each other. It's really okay. Something.
All right, what platform did you watch this on, sir?
It's on VOD. I don't think it's on a normal platform yet, but when it gets there, if you don't want to shell out whatever it is, it's worth a watch for sure.
I will have to. I will go hunting as soon as we're done with this. I think I need to see this movie.
I think so too. I'll be curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, so a hunting I shall go immediately after this.
You've not seen Happy Death Day, have you?
No, I'll be honest with you. Blumhouse is hit or miss in my opinion. Some of it's really, really good. Some of it's just total shit.
You are correct.
And so this one kind of slipped through the cracks.
The one thing I like about Blumhouse is they are completely devoted to taking chances.
Yeah,
and making sure
give them that.
Making sure horror stays alive. You know, it really depends. And Happy Death Day, I'm gonna make you watch it because it's really good. I think you'll like it.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm gonna trust you on this one, sir.
Okay, you should. I mean, I've never steered you wrong, as the entire history of this show has proven. I've never steered you wrong.
Never, not once. No.
Never, not once. Okay. Oh, one more. I really have to mention this. I saw a movie yesterday called The New York Ripper. And let me tell you about this Ripper here. It's on Shudder right now.
Okay.
It's an Italian giallo, because there's always room for giallo, right?
I see what you did.
Yeah, I just damn my soul to hell for that pun. Let me tell you about this movie. It's a highly sexualized, fairly violent slasher. Takes place in New York. It's really grimy and dirty. But slashers in this era are like 1980s WWF wrestlers. Like, they all need a gimmick. And the gimmick of this one is what really makes it stand out. The killer likes to call his victims and antagonize the police, as some of these slashers do. Except when he does it, he quacks like a duck and talks in a cartoon character's voice. This is a real thing.
Okay.
It's yes. Yes, this is the gimmick. He quacks like a duck, and I swear to God, when he's murdering all these poor women, he's quacking the whole time.
I'm just picturing Donald Duck having the worst day ever.
Yep, that's basically what it is. It's a bad Donald Duck impression. And it is actually sort of explained at the end of the movie why he does that, but it's like, whatever. It's so ridiculous.
No explanation needed, movie.
Yeah, it's so out of place, too. It doesn't even fit in with the grimy, gross, kind of skeevy atmosphere of the rest of the movie. But,
Nice.
yeah, that exists in this world. If you want to check it out, it's on Shudder.
New York Ripper.
Yep.
New York Ripper, Happy Death Day to You, and Freaky.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
watch Happy Death Day, not Happy Death Day to You.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hunting I shall go.
Excellent.
All right.
You got your homework assignments. What have you been watching, Mr. Tom Coe?
Well, like every true blue geek out there, I watched season 2 of The Mandalorian, and as a result of that, and not really knowing what the hell all the plot details we're talking about, I decided, and somehow managed to talk Mrs. Tom Coe into this, to going back and watching all of Star Wars, from the prequels to the Clone Wars to everything up until the last, or the Rise of Skywalker. And I think everybody knows what they want to know about Star Wars, so I'm not going to get into it too much. But I also did watch Wonder Woman 84. What about you, sir?
Yeah, I did see it.
What's your opinion on this?
It's not as bad as everyone was making it out to be.
Thank you.
It's certainly got its problems, and it's way too long, but it was also enjoyable. It's no, as of right now on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's the worst DC movie, and that's not true. So
No, that can't be right.
yeah, I don't understand what's going on here. Why all the hate? The only thing I can imagine is the first one was so great.
Now, when you say it's the worst DC movie according to Rotten Tomatoes, is that according to the critics or the fans?
I believe according to the, I don't know if that's, I don't know.
I was gonna say, because
Now that
there's
you
no
say it.
way that's worse than Suicide Squad.
No, no. Let me look it up. I will find out. Why don't you tell people what you thought of Miss Wonder Woman there?
I think actually we're on the same page. It's not a great movie. I think it suffered from the fact that it was coming off of one of the better superhero movies, certainly the best DC movie to come out with the original Wonder Woman. The anticipation was also built up to ridiculous proportions by the endless reschedules of the release date, and I just don't think it could have possibly lived up to all of that, even if it was a phenomenal movie. But it's not a phenomenal movie.
It's not. No.
I thought that there were things in there that were just bizarre at best. I think a lot of the CGI was half-baked, and I'm going to say exactly what I have been saying. They had all these months of delays. Why didn't they go back and fix some of that CGI? Why didn't they go back into the editing suite and tighten up the pace? They literally just either this is the absolute best that they could have done with that script, or they sat on their thumbs for the past 10 months.
And I heard that the studios wanted Patty Jenkins. My thought is they could have easily cut out a half hour of this movie.
Easily.
And Patty Jenkins fought the studio on cutting 2 scenes that they wanted to cut. The opening scene with young Diana participating in the games there, she didn't want to cut that, which
I can see both sides.
I can too. I can see why it could be cut because
It contributes nothing to the overall plot.
not at all. It serves no purpose whatsoever. However, it's a good sequence.
It is.
So, and the other scene that the studio wanted to cut was the whole scene in the mall, which I don't know why they would want to do that because that's the initial action scene, really. But
not only that, but it would have been even longer before you saw Wonder Womaning.
yeah, exactly. Because as it is, that's the only time you see her in costume for, I think, probably the first hour, right?
I think so.
The supporting cast is great, I thought. I thought Gal Gadot looked kind of like tired, though, in this movie. Like, usually she seems...
I think that was because of the plot, though.
Think so?
Where she was losing her powers and losing her strength, so...
That could be. Yeah, you could be right.
And also, let's face it, this was meant to be a cheesy 80s movie.
Yeah.
And boy, did it deliver on that front.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, really, he was chewing up the scenery in this one.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Speaking of The Mandalorian.
It's not as bad as it was. It had some really great set pieces. I don't know when I'm going to go back and watch it again, though.
Right. And I agree with you. I think it had a tough hill to climb when the first movie was so great. I don't know how you live up to that. I don't know if it's possible to be that celebrated. And
I think it's possible because as much as I like that first movie, it really started to kind of buckle in that third act.
Oh, the third act is awful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they could have, again, just tighten everything down. You had 10 months to get this thing as close to perfect as you did, and that's what you gave us on Christmas, no less.
By the way, it was super weird. I thought that Chris Pine's character is brought back in somebody else's body.
Yeah, it's kind of horrifying if you think about it.
And
if you look at it from the point of view of that guy.
Yeah, and Diana just like bones him and stuff. And it's like, well, okay, that's weird. Like,
yeah, really weird.
Like it doesn't make sense, and there's no need for it because you have this monkey's paw that can give you whatever you want, as seen later in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, if it can literally make a couple of thousand nuclear missiles appear out of thin air,
yeah,
then surely you could just have Chris Pine come back
in his own body. Yeah,
yeah.
Like, I get I guess they were going for the fact that his body blew up, but again, you can wish for anything.
Monkey paw.
Yeah,
you know, go hog wild with it, movie.
Also, Kristen Wiig was really good in this movie. However, the whole cheetah thing at the end was dumb. I thought she didn't look good as Cheetah. And what was the point of that character in this movie, anyways? Other than
to give Gal Gadot somebody to physically fight.
Yeah, but
that's about it.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. And she was only Cheetah for like 5 minutes and was beaten pretty easily. So
yeah, I did think it was funny that she beat the cat by throwing it into water.
Right. Of course. That's how you beat cats. They don't like water.
Exactly.
I mean, I know you're a dog person and you're not doing very well with that these days, but
no, I'm not.
Oh,
but the only other thing I've watched that I think is worthy of a conversation isn't even a movie or a television show. It's the series of videos that's on YouTube that I kind of fell down a rabbit hole with.
Oh God!
It takes place these toy dealers in the Detroit area.
Oh, nice.
Bought contents of a hoarder's house for $40,000. They get every Hudson's bag from the 1980s. They get every stacked dirty dish. They get everything in that house. However, you have like 100 mint on card Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi figures, including a lot of them where the little punch is still there from when they would have hung them on the racks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They have the same amount of G.I. Joe figures, but they also have all of these play sets. It's like you're roughly the same age as I am. If I say the G.I. Joe USS Flag, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
That thing regularly goes for $1,000 out of the box. They have it brand new in the box, never opened, just sitting there.
By the way,
it's just kind of amazing seeing the layers of shit that they're literally having to scrape away in order to find like a desk that's filled with, a couple thousand silver dollars.
Right. What
So it's one of, I don't recommend it for anybody who's not awake at 5 a.m, bored out of their mind. But if you're in that circumstance, it's worth a watch.
What are they called?
Sarge and Reds, I believe it's called.
Okay.
They're getting ready to open a store in the Detroit area where they're going to have a lot of this stuff on display.
Okay.
So, yeah, like I said, I mean, I'll send you a link to the where they're going over all the Star Wars figures that they bought or that they found.
Yeah, I think I would be fascinated by that. Did you collect did you have any Star Wars action figures when you were a kid?
Of course. I still have very cherished childhood memories of the Christmas of 1983 where I got an Imperial Walker. I got the Ewok Village. I got an X-Wing fighter. And I got 2 cases, one Darth Vader case, another C-3PO case filled with figures.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was pretty damn awesome.
Do you still have them?
No.
Aw.
And the only reason I got them, and I'm still pissed about this to this day, when we moved from a farmhouse to a 2-bedroom apartment because my dad got transferred, he gave away all of my toys to a poor family.
Oh, well, I can't hate him for that.
You can't.
Right.
I had the G.I. Joe base, dude. I had dozens of Transformers.
Yeah. I had all sorts of... I had... going to the Star Wars, first of all, I only had a few. I had Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
And I had a Rancor from Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay. Yes.
That thing was so awesome. I played with that constantly with all my action figures. Like, it was universal. I had a jaw that would open and close, and it would eat all my G.I. Joes too and everything.
Yeah, it was controlled almost like a puppet with the joystick in the back, if I remember right.
Yep. And I might still have that in my parents' attic somewhere. I hope so. I need to find that.
If you do, you need to have your missus or your girlfriend or whatever you're referring her as. You need to have her taking video of you playing with that thing.
Okay.
Complete with it eating action figures.
All right, fair enough. I did have I was a big Thundercats kid, and I know this got sold at a garage sale, and I'm really salty about it. But it was their entire base. They lived in that giant mountain shaped like a lion.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And this thing had light up eyes, and it was awesome. But that's gone. There was one Star Wars figure I always wanted, and nobody ever bought it for me. And it was from the Jabba the Hutt from Return of the Jedi. I wanted that so bad.
I got that same Christmas, actually.
No.
I take it back. I did not get that same Christmas. I got that right before we went and saw Return of the Jedi in the theater.
Oh, you spoiled brat.
I still remember we went to the quad, the old quad that is no longer there in Saginaw. But beforehand, we went to the Myers that is next door to it, loaded up on bulk candy that Mom smuggled in with her purse, and they also got me the Jabba playset.
Nice. I saw it in a comic store about 10 years ago, and I really wanted to buy it, but I didn't.
I can't imagine it'd be that expensive if it's loose out of the box.
Yeah, it was loose out of the box. I don't remember what they were asking for it, but I probably should have,
You deserve it, Randy.
Thank you. I think I do. Somebody buy that for me, please. By the way, cheap plug, we talk a lot about G.I. Joes on this week's episode of Miserable Retail Slave because Sergeant Slaughter followed me on Twitter, and boy, we're trying to woo him to come on Miserable Retail Slave. So I talk all about Sergeant Slaughter and how I wanted a Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe and never got one. Damn it.
I had one, complete with a little personal ATV tank. that he had. In my
You had everything.
I
Had
had everything until he gave it to those destitute children.
stupid poor kids.
Get your
Ugh.
own toys.
Getting back to Wonder Woman 84 real quick, what do you think about DC's future in the movies? Do you think, because I read an article that they basically said that the Snyder Cut of Justice League is a storyline dead end. They're not going to do that anymore. And their whole thing is with the multiverse, which, I mean, if you're a Marvel and DC fan, that's always been their thing. Marvel's been continuity, and DC has been always struggled with continuity and is better when they just kind of are like, here's standalone stories.
I'm fine with that. As long as the stories themselves are good, I'm fine with that. And if they can use this new Flash movie to where they can logically keep properties like Wonder Woman going, maybe Flash, and even Aquaman, though why that movie made $1 billion is beyond me.
Right.
You know, if they can have it somehow make sense but still maintain good storytelling, I'm fine with it. I don't need to have every single movie lock into place.
Yeah. Jason Momoa is a good Aquaman, though. Well, I mean,
He is.
I like his, I don't know if he's a good Aquaman. I like his character, I should say.
As I say, he's basically playing Jason Momoa, you know, doing a backstroke.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. What do
And
you...
I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Because I remember being really upset when I found out that he wasn't going to be opening that brewery down in Detroit because I wanted to work there. I didn't care what job it was. I just wanted to say I worked at Jason Momoa's brewery in Detroit.
One of Momoa's minions. Which do you think came first? Michael Keaton in the Flash announcement and that whole deal? Or do you think that Marvel had the whole let's get all the Spider-Man together thing in the works before that? Because they've been known for long-term planning. But I just find it weird that everybody's...
I don't know. Because they also had the whole Spider-Verse movie where they were playing with the idea of the multiverse.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'd say it was probably that big crossover that was on the CW shows this year.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was probably the genesis of it all. And that's as big a success as that was. It's starting to get kind of lost in the wayside with the Flash and Spider-Man properties.
Yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, well, The Flash was on The Flash. The movie version of The Flash was on the fucking show The Flash, which is crazy.
Well, more importantly, they had Brandon Routh as Superman again, which to me, that's still my Superman, that iteration of the character. And to see that version again, you know, just made my geek heart go pitter-pat.
Is that your version because it follows the Donner storyline, or just because you liked his... Okay, that's what I thought.
But to me, it is, at least in spirit, a decent, you know, continuation of it. Even though it was kind of creepy seeing Superman being a deadbeat dad / stalker.
Right. Yeah. It was. Yeah. That movie's got problems too.
Yeah, it does. It does, but I can overlook them.
What do you think about all the Spider-Man 3 news? Do you think it's going to be good or overcrowded?
You know what? I'm going to trust Sam Raimi on this one. This seems to be his brainchild. I mean, yes, he's going to be working on the Doctor Strange movie, but from what I understand, it's all springing from his work on Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and I also heard that Toby Maguire might be Spider-Man and help out Doctor Strange in that movie. That was a rumor.
No, he is. That's confirmed.
Oh, it is confirmed?
Yep.
Which is pretty awesome. I like that. I suppose this is going to be the way that they bring the X-Men in.
Probably. Yeah.
And apparently the WandaVision series is going to have a lot to do with that too. So it's all interesting. I feel it's interesting to me that they don't trust Tom Holland. Like, all of his movies have not been a Tom Holland movie. They've all...
Well,
like, the first one was not a Spider-Man movie. It was an Iron Man movie, really.
That's fair.
And the second one was an Iron Man movie. Like, I can't live up to be what Iron Man wants me to be. Like, I kind of wish that Tom Holland. At first, I appreciated the fact that we didn't get a origin story of Spider-Man again. But at this point, I think Tom Holland kind of deserves that. And I hope, since there's going to be multiple Spider-Man in this one, that will be the focus of this movie, Spider-Man, rather than Iron Man or the Avengers or whatever the fuck is going on in the Marvel Universe. I hope it's more of a Spider-Man movie. And with all the Spider-Man characters and previous iterations, you would think it would be, right?
I'm taking a wait and see approach to it.
Yeah, it could be really good if it's done well. And I mean, let's face it, Marvel's had a good track record.
They haven't had a perfect track record.
It's not been perfect, no.
You know, people, I mean, everybody complains about Iron Man 3, but let's face it, that last Ant-Man movie was pretty bad.
Oh, you think so?
I think so.
I thought it was enjoyable.
I didn't, you know, that first and second Thor movie, pretty bad. They can't figure out what to do with the Hulk on his own.
Yeah, that's true. The second Thor movie I'll give you. The first one I kind of like. I thought the second Tom Holland Spider-Man was very lackluster.
I don't remember a damn thing about it.
See, exactly.
I know that it was over in Europe and Jake Gyllenhaal was in it, I think.
Yeah, he was Mysterio.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We're 53 minutes in.
I was going to say, we've been going at this for quite a while. We haven't even brought up Jamie Lee Curtis, sir.
I'm sorry. Let's bring up Jamie Lee Curtis. You a big Jamie Lee Curtis fan there, are you?
You know what? She was one of my childhood crushes, so yes, I am.
Okay. I could see that, yeah.
I get defensive whenever anybody makes fun of her.
All right. Well, we're tackling a Jamie Lee Curtis movie that is appropriate of the times. It takes place on New Year's Eve. It's called Terror Train. It's part of her early career slasher trilogy of films. She did Halloween, then Prom Night, then Terror Train, and she was also in The Fog the same year as Terror Train and Prom Night. So she was pretty much a horror scream queen already. Like, that's why she's a scream queen. That's what she did. Not to mention Halloween 2, and she was in a movie called Road Games as well. So, in a matter of 3-4 years, she was in goddamn 6-7 horror movies.
Damn.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about it, Halloween and Prom Night anyways are sort of, well, Halloween definitely, Prom Night less so, which I feel is a franchise we'll cover at some point. Because
I was thinking sometime in the mid to late spring we would have to tackle that one.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that the fact that she went on to have the career that she did is nothing short of miraculous. Because the movies that she, at least the horror movies that she starred in that didn't have anything to do with John Carpenter are kind of underwhelming.
Oh, listen, I tried to watch The Fog right before this, and it's.
Okay, I've not watched that since I was like 3. But I will give you that one. I've heard it's awful.
It's tough sledding. I had never seen it before, and I was like, well, I'm waiting, so I'll just watch something. And there it was, and I tried, and I'm like, ugh.
But still, I mean, the fact that she went on to do things like True Lies, she actually had a really good show. I can't remember what it was called, but it had Richard Lewis.
I know what you're talking about. What was that show? Damn it, I'm gonna have to.
It was on like the early '90s, I want to say, but she's actually had a phenomenal career. And if I were watching these movies at the time that they came out, I would have never guessed that she would have gone on to do the stuff that she has. I'll be honest with you. Until you said, hey, we're going to do Terror Train for New Year's Eve, I didn't know what the hell Terror Train was. And again, I consider myself a fan of Jamie Lee Curtis.
The show was called Anything But Love, and it ran from 1989 to 1992. Holy shit. I forgot all about that show. I remember it being on, but
I remember it being actually pretty good, too.
My God, Richard Lewis's mullet in that show. Simply marvelous.
Oh God, another thing. I can't believe I forgot to mention this right away. A Fish Called Wanda. She was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that one.
She's a really, really good comedic actor.
And good for her for being able able to pivot, because a lot of these actresses that got stuck in the horror movies, they didn't escape, or that's all they did, or they never did anything again.
Can't play Wanda.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
4 slashers started to be relentlessly churned out in the 80s. Some of them still tried to be somewhat original. Like, a lot of them copied the Friday the 13th formula. They all take place in a summer camp, which was repeated ad nauseum. Then a ton of them took place on college campuses and dorms or frat parties or something. Terror Train, in case you're dense and don't get it, takes place on a train. It's in the title even. And part of me is surprised that that wasn't repeated all that often. I'm surprised.
Well, repeated for Speed, and certainly Speed 2.
Speed 2? Speed on a boat?
Yeah.
I mean,
just put a slasher in there and it's the same movie.
It would have been a better movie, I bet.
Oh, God, yes.
That's interesting. Would you I suppose in a way you could consider the original Speed to be a slasher movie, just because.
I could see that. Yeah,
it's kind of like a Jigsaw type villain.
Yeah, I think if you were to sit down and construct it, a case could be made.
Okay, I'm going to do it then. That'll be my college thesis. This movie, however, does share the same theme of every other college theme slasher out there. Basically, someone gets a prank pulled on them that goes horrifically wrong, and then the prank person is so humiliated they devote their entire existence to destroying those who wrong them. I mean, come on, slashers, have you heard of letting bygones be bygones? You know, go to therapy, get over it. You don't got to murder everybody.
Yeah, but that was back before we all got touchy-feely and, looking into our feelings. No, back then you just killed every motherfucker that slighted you.
Yeah, I guess that's the way it should be, right? Eye for an eye, biblical vengeance.
Hell yeah.
So the horrible prank that's played on this poor soul is pretty bad, wouldn't you say?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm still not entirely sure what happened. Did they purposely have him make out with a corpse?
Yeah, I think that was the whole purpose of the prank. So they're at
that's not a prank. That's criminal.
That's pretty bad. So they're at a medical college based on just sort of conversations. That's how they're able to access a corpse in the first place. It's just a cadaver for study. So there's this kid, stereotypical nerd named Kenny. He's got glasses. That's how you know he's a nerd. And he's shy and whatever. And they get Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays a girl named Elena, to basically say that she's going to fool around with them. And the frat boys at the party kind of egg him on. And he goes upstairs to a dark room and he starts to strip. And she's telling him, come to bed, come to bed. And when he does, he realizes he's in bed with a corpse,
Then he shrieks, twists around, and gets tangled up in like the bed skirt or something.
Yeah, he spins around like a little psychotic Tasmanian devil for some reason. And I mean, God, I hate when that happens. I can't tell you, Tom Coe. Like,
how many bed skirts you have been tangled up in.
I tell you what, here's something nobody knows about me. My 20s were full of wacky misunderstandings where I think I'm getting lured to bed by some comely lass, and instead I find a medical cadaver there instead, and a group of leering frat boys just waiting to crack up and fist bump in the next room over. I swear. If I had a nickel for every time.
After a while, you just become desensitized.
Yeah, I mean,
you just reach up and pull down the bed skirt, just to do it.
And I'm like, oh, you guys. And they hold up a package of Mentos. And I'm like, oh, okay. The Fresh Maker. That's a great joke if anyone got it. But apparently this event, his first sexual experience, is with a corpse. Sends him off the deep end and he gets sent to a loony bin. I mean, I guess. I probably wouldn't take it that well if I was in bed with a corpse. I mean, there's a bunch of wife jokes and whatnot to be made there by some hack comedian, but I'm not going to do it.
However, I think you do need to feed this to Tommy. You're just going to give him like a full solid 5 minutes for his next set.
You're right. His next stand-up special.
Yes.
Yeah. 3 years later, it's their senior year, and the same group of assholes gathers together to celebrate New Year's Eve. And also their senior year with one last great big bash before graduation. I think they forgot that you graduate in like May and you have a few months yet. Like there's spring break and shit. Like, what are you doing? But so they decide to have a great big costume party on a train. So everyone is wearing generic, non-trademarkable costumes and laughing and carrying on.
Now, you probably wouldn't guess it by my geekly ways, but I have been to a handful of New Year's Eve parties. I've never been to one where everybody's dressed up in costume.
Yeah, that was going to be my next. How many costume parties have you been to? And have they all been Halloween parties?
I want to say maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 costume parties. And yes, they've all been Halloween parties.
Oh, one time I went to an event called a zombie prom where everyone dressed up in tuxedos and dresses and also like zombies.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was basically just an excuse to drink beer.
Kind of like the zombie pub crawl I went to up in Saginaw about 10 years ago. I get it.
Oh, that would have been fun.
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. But anyways, Terror Train.
Terror Train.
And I have to admit, I was shocked from the moment that I saw David Copperfield pop up on the opening credits.
Right.
And I thought it was just going to be like a cameo and he was going to be there for like 2 minutes and gone.
Oh, no.
No, he's there for at least a good, I don't want to say subplot of the movie, but he's there for a long time.
Yeah, on the train is David fucking Copperfield, and he's performing illusions and entertaining the drunken, dancing 20-somethings.
With an attitude, by the way.
With an attitude, yeah. And also he's lurking around and being suspicious, Because obviously we know the killer is going to be Kenny Hampson, but we don't know who he's dressed up as or what he grew up to look like. So that...
Yes, because all of the kills are performed by somebody in a disguise. You don't see their face.
Yes. So before they even board the train, one of the kids dressed up like Groucho Marx gets killed, and the killer takes his mask and is placed on the train, which also
the victim was like the most passionless victim I've ever seen.
Right.
Oh no, clunk.
Yeah, I mean, if you're about to die, you need to really sell it, I would think. That really made me think, though, like, how does one's family feel about their deceased relative, like, being shown killing people with swords? Like, if you're Groucho Marx family, do you appreciate that? I doubt it. Like, how do you get that passed through lawyers and whatnot?
It shouldn't have at least been an exploding cigar.
Oh, yes, it should have. Yeah, you're right. That would have been great.
That would have been.
Man. Missed opportunities. That's it. We're remaking it.
You know what? I would do that, but I don't know if I want to sit down to this movie again, sir.
Oh.
Give me the crib notes and I'll work off of those.
Oh, man. Well, the costume party, like I said before, adds a little extra layer of suspense because you don't know who the killer's dressed like. And in these slasher movies, without the big iconic slasher like a Freddy, Jason, Michael, some white boy name, it's always a mini half-ass mystery of guessing who the killer is in the first place.
And there's always a red herring.
Always.
Always.
And there's like 3 different Mr. X in this one, I would say.
Well, I mean, the big one was David Copperfield because he's mysterious and he's staring at Jamie Lee Curtis. And,
yeah,
turns out, no, he's just being a moody, asshole.
Exactly. He's just a brooding emo boy. That's what he is. Elena isn't that happy being on the train because she's on the train with Doc, who's the biggest prime douchebag. He's the one that organized this party, but also the prank a few years ago. So she only goes along to be with her friends and her boyfriend. And I'm like, well, listen, chick, you went along with that prank too, so you're to blame as well. That's my theory on that.
I think that's fair.
Also, beloved Vanity, who we've covered in this program before, is in this movie. Hey Girl, Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, she's just eye candy, basically. She doesn't do anything. But
She does all she needs to do.
exactly. You can check out more Vanity in our episode of Never Too Young to Die, starring John Stamos. Available now in the archives. We cover that movie. And I think Tom Coe probably liked that one better than Terror Train, if I'm reading between the lines here.
Yes, I think that is fair to say.
Oh, man. What was your problem with Terror Train, I wonder?
It was boring.
Yeah, it was boring. I guess so. I think it picks up in the third act, though.
It does, and for all the wrong reasons.
Well, we've got the end of the movie where, the Scooby-Doo style chase happens, in which the deranged criminal chases that meddling kid.
Yeah.
So that's when the excitement really picks up. But before that, you just basically have a bunch of kids getting drunk and systematically picked off. And you don't know any of these kids, and there's been no establishing character moments for them, really. So it's like, who cares?
Pretty much. I mean, it was a cheap movie, designed to make a quick turnover. I don't think that they put a whole lot of thought into it. And again, I can't believe Jamie Lee Curtis had the career she did.
I don't even think Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job in this movie.
No, she doesn't.
She seems like she's kind of just phoning it in a little bit.
She's as bored as I was.
Yeah, I think she filmed Prom Night and then this back to back within a month or two of each other. So maybe she was just burned out on the whole thing too.
That could very well be. How much of the plot do you want to go ahead and spoil this 40-year-old movie?
Yeah. First of all, did you see the big twist coming?
Well, I knew it wasn't going to be David Copperfield because it was too obvious.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that surprised at the big twist as far as who the killer turned out to be. And I feel bad for saying this because I was looking at the assistant and thinking, wow, his lady assistant's like way taller than him, and she looks kind of manly. Oh, don't be mean, Tom. Maybe she's just wearing high heels. Maybe she just has an abnormally large Adam's apple. No. The female assistant was Kenny.
Yep, this is true. I didn't really notice because I didn't pay attention to the assistant, because when you see David Copperfield's assistant the first few times, it's a faraway shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was a good idea. However, when you start seeing the assistant up close, you're like, oh, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Wait.
And speaking of the assistant, full confession, again, child of the 80s, I grew up a big fan of David Copperfield, so I was at least interested in that. But at one point, they do a switcheroo trick where he raises a curtain in front of himself, and it drops, and it's the assistant.
Yeah.
But he's got audience members
right behind him.
Yes.
Yes.
How does that work?
I just took it to mean he was a real supernatural creature in this movie. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Not supernatural enough.
Not supernatural enough because he gets skewered with his own trick. But the character that played Kenny Hampson was actually a transsexual named Derek McKinnon.
Okay.
And apparently, I guess, now this is stupid. This is really stupid to me. And I'm going to guess you're going to think this is stupid too. But
I'm prepared now.
But apparently during this period, Jamie Lee Curtis was going through when she was doing all these horror movies, the tabloids began spreading rumors that Jamie Lee Curtis was a hermaphrodite.
Yes. You'll still hear those rumors every once in a while.
Because she's sort of tomboyish and whatever. And I was like, oh, internet trolls always existed, even without the internet. People have always been awful.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I felt bad for noticing that about the assistant, and I still do kind of feel bad. But turns out I was right.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Derek McKinnon is a transsexual, and I don't know what the proper pronoun is, but
I always go with they to be on the safe side.
yes, they are all right with it. So whatever, who cares?
Okay.
The thing that really blows my mind, so at the end of the movie, Kenny Hampson has revealed that they were the assistant to David Copperfield all along, growing a big blonde mane and wearing a dress and whatnot. And Jamie Lee Curtis leans in and kisses Kenny, which triggers a whole entire flashback to what started this whole mess in the first place. He flips out and he's like a cartoon character when he gets kissed by a girl. He's Tex Avery. He just spins around and there's just random draperies around that he twists himself up in. But apparently that was entirely improvised by Jamie Lee Curtis. It was her idea to kiss the character.
So what you're saying is that this movie proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that David Copperfield is not a good actor and Jamie Lee Curtis is not a good writer.
I guess. I mean, she said, I just thought that if she kissed him, that it would bring a lot of tenderness to the scene and to the film. The kiss was totally my idea. All during filming, I was looking for ways to make my character more interesting, but there weren't many opportunities because most because most of the film was about the action and the killer. But I feel like that's a big improv choice to pull on screen because I don't know, it just seems weird to me that wasn't written because he flips out and then the conductor, which, by the way, if you're a train conductor, do you just have policeman status and you can do whatever you want? He's all of a sudden the law, and is it a captainship kind of?
I was wondering about that. Yes.
I mean, what is train law? Is the conductor judge, jury, and executioner? Because he hits that motherfucker with a shovel and knocks
Doesn't
him
he full Nelson slam him out the door?
Yes, he falls out of the train and off a big bridge and slams on the ice down below and sinks
Not
to
to sound like a sick bastard, but this was my favorite part of the entire movie. Because they show him hurtling toward this frozen river, except for this one spot where there's free-flowing ice, and in my mind's eye, I'm picturing him just going into the drink, bloop.
Yeah.
Nope. Boom. Right on the ice in a sickening thud, and I don't know why, but it looked like something out of a Wile E. Coyote cartoon.
Just needed a plume of smoke to come up.
That was great.
My favorite part of the movie was when the doc character got killed, and the conductor discovered his body and his disembodied. Always in these movies in the 80s, they have to have that disembodied head at some point, and
which is just one step above a mannequin head. Yep.
Yeah, always. And it's always my favorite thing to see how ridiculous that head looks. And they always look like the worst thing ever. So fake. I mean, very few of them pull it off. There's a couple, if I really rack my brain, but man, not this time.
No.
Not at all.
So I don't know what else to say about this movie. I'd say that this is a good after bar movie at best, where you're not thinking about it. You just want something on the background after you get home and you're so buzzed and you're fooling around on your phone. It's good for that. But what did you think about this movie, sir?
I think it's a good after bar movie too. I think it is sort of slow in parts.
I think it'd be a lot better if you're with a group of friends, probably.
Yeah.
And you can kind of poke fun and make fun of it,
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's just kind of a big movie to me.
Like I said, it didn't... It kind committed the cardinal sin of movies, in my opinion. I can take bad and cheesy. I can take ridiculous and over the top. I can't stand boring.
Yeah, I get that. Terror Train opened in the U.S. on October 3rd, 1980, and grossed, which means it's 40 years old, Tom Coe. My God.
Oh.
Yeah, soon to be 41 almost.
Oh.
And grossed an estimated $8 million at the box office on a budget of 3.5. I don't know what.
Good for them.
I don't know what the 3.5 was spent on. I guess the train or something. I don't know. Anyways, I am highly shocked that this movie has never been remade.
It seems like it'd be prime for it, you know?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not been one of those that have been remade in 2009 or something.
Or at least a crossover with the Polar Express.
Yeah, Tom Hanks tangling with an angry transsexual. But
Body slams him off the side door. I would watch that.
Yeah. By the way, this is another one of those movies in the 80s that doesn't really handle transsexuality that well. Like, they are the villains.
No.
They want to kill us.
This movie comes from a different time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like grandma, saying awful things at Thanksgiving dinner. You just have to look the other way and realize that they came from a different time.
Yeah. We talk more about that on our Sleepaway Camp episode, which I haven't released yet, and I probably should soon. But
you should, because that one was actually fun.
That was fun. Yeah.
That's the kind of bad horror movie that I like.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's ridiculous, but I had fun watching it.
Yeah, the Sleepaway Camp movies are fun, except for the very last one, which
God, yes.
I think we both agree might be the worst movie we've both ever seen. It's pretty awful.
It's certainly I think it's definitely the worst one we've ever reviewed on this podcast.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Oh, God, so bad. Well, that was Terror Train. I hope you enjoyed that. Tell people where they can find you, sir.
You can find me on a show that's going to be at least making a small comeback after the new year called Jake and Tom Conquer the World. It's been described as the conversations you overhear from two drunken geeks on the other side of the bar arguing about comic books, movies, and how to abuse time travel. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me on Twitter at The Drunken Dork, and on Facebook, you can find Jake and Tom Conquer the Group. What about you, sir?
I am on a little podcast called Miserable Retail Slave. We are a big dumb comedy show. We were on the top 200 improv comedy charts in the U.S. and UK all last week, so hey. Love that.
Hey.
Yeah, we're trying a whole bunch of new different things. I have a guy that does art for us now, so that's been fun.
I noticed that. I was impressed.
Pretty great stuff, isn't it?
That definitely put a smile on my face.
Well, by the time this episode is released, I think the new MRS will be released, and it's an episode. The art for that episode is Sergeant Slaughter, and it's fucking amazing. So I'm excited for that. We also tried a new thing on there, which will be a standalone episode called "The History of Unimportant Things," in which Tommy and
that sounds like every retro review I've ever taken part in.
Exactly. Tommy and I look at the origins of the Karen meme. So that was a lot of fun, actually.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Yeah. And what else? I don't know. There's another thing coming up that I'm going to be doing with my friend Maddie F. So we're going to be doing a Seinfeld rewatch podcast. It should be fun.
Oh.
Yeah. So all that's coming up. You can follow me on Twitter at mretailslave. And go to that Facebook. Join our group too. Miserable Retail Slave. Search it. There's a private group and a public group. Join the public group. I'm trying to grow that one. So that would be great.
I keep thinking you need to have another group where it's merging both your shows called Someone's Miserable Movie.
That would be perfect, actually.
That would be.
Yeah. That's a vast majority of these classics we cover. Yeah. Next time, I think we're covering Freaked, aren't we?
Yes. I'm looking forward to talking to you about that one, sir.
Yeah, that's a fun one. And after that, Tom Coe gets to pick a movie because I've been hogging them all. So,
All right. Do you want a serious movie or do you want just a completely batshit movie? Because I've got one for each category.
I always like the batshit ones.
All right, so I'll give you a choice. Do you want to do Meet the Feebles or Cannibal the Musical?
Oh my god. Let's do Meet the Feebles.
All right, I will work out a way to get you a copy of that, sir.
Excellent. What else? In the month of February, we're going to do love movies, so I hope you're prepared for that.
Oh, I cannot wait for that. That's going to be fun.
Except it's love movies and the style of someone's favorite movie, so
that's why I guffawed with excitement.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. The month of love and someone's favorite movie. So get ready for that. Share the show with all your friends. That would be great. We need to grow this program a little bit more. That would be awesome. And then thanks for listening, I guess. All right.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye.